Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my fourth NASCAR league race. This time we're going to Sonoma, the first of the road courses on the calendar. And this is exciting for me because I am, of course, from a road course background, being an F1 league racer. So this could be my best opportunity at a good result. We're in qualifying here. We only have 3 laps. I know it says 4, but the first lap was not available to qualify at speed. So 3 laps is all we have to nail a lap around here. I know some people are capable of very quick lap times, such as 11s I believe, possibly, but 12s certainly. I have not hit one of them yet. A 13 is my best, but of course that came towards the end of a fuel stint, and this we're on full fuel. So this may not be particularly possible for me to have a great qualifying. We'll see how we go though. We're coming through this lovely S's section, which I know a lot of people don't like. So we'll see what happens at the end of this lap. It's not the longest lap, but it's certainly the longest in the NASCAR calendar. Oh dear. I think that was K-Dog hitting the wall there in the Hamlin car. And we've had a bit of an error there. It's going to cost us a little bit of time. So we'll see what happens as we come across the line looking for a 13. What is it going to be? Oh, a 14-0, not what we're after. We had a couple more opportunities, but we were not able to improve with a 14-1 on lap 3, and then I made this error towards the end of my final attempt. Some cars came through, everyone sort of compromising each other here. I got back down the inside, but then I had a lot of understeer, and unfortunately put Mitch in the wall there. I don't think he would have improved. I don't think any of us would have improved with that shenanigans. We end up 5th though. There were some very fast drivers in front of us though, so we have to be wary of that. But this is our best qualifying of the season for sure. And a top 5 is no mean feat with these very good drivers. We've got someone to our left here. Ooh, we're all over the curb. Doesn't look like they're going to get around the outside though. So we maintained 5th at the start of the race. This is a 55 lap race, and the stage will end at lap 15. So the top 5 there will get points. And Aaron, who pulled away a little bit from us there, so we're struggling to maintain good lap times in the first segment of the race, has a little error himself through the S's, and thankfully we pulled away from P6, otherwise it might have been in jeopardy there. We're down to the 13s now, which is where we'd stay for most of the rest of the race. Aaron having some issues, and we try to get through, but we can't quite make it without some contact, slowing ourselves down, and he gets back in front unfortunately. It was very difficult to make an overtake, and I wasn't confident enough to actually try it without him making a slight error. There it was, another error, just enough to let us through this time. Apologies for the contact, just trying to control my car, it was quite difficult. You know, we are through, and it's before the end of the stage, which is this lap. Oh, there's a lap car ghosting.
Still there?
It's Meaty, not having the greatest race for himself. Don't think he likes this track at all. But across the line we come to take 2 points for 4th at the end of the stage. Into the pits we come. Everyone should be pitting. Default setups for most people here. I didn't change mine either. 2 cans of fuel is the maximum allowed, and hopefully we're going to come out where we ended the stage. That should be P4. It'd be very welcome though if we could jump some people up into maybe P3. No, it looks like we're P4, which is very acceptable. We've got Mitch, Sean and Kyle ahead of us, not in that order, but there they are. So the restart, we're on the outside, and I've got Aaron behind us. I look in the mirror and there's enough space to move to the left. Unfortunately I may have lag hit him there, because I know he wasn't particularly happy about that from his perspective. Anyway, we're still in P4 and we can only concentrate in front of us. I had no idea, of course, there was contact with Aaron myself at this stage. Off is Sean, and thankfully he's going across the track without collecting anyone. So we're up to P3, and on the podium I was quite happy to take P3, and I was hoping that wouldn't cause a massive collision. My teammate there, Kyle, hitting the wall, but it was actually lag. That never would have occurred on his screen. In front we've got Meaty going a lap down once again, and I'm not sure what was happening here, but he certainly tried to unlap himself from Kyle and stuck it down the inside there, so I was a bit unsure as to what was happening here. Still in my infancy of the NASCAR rule set, so I wasn't even sure if the lap cars are supposed to be letting us through like in F1, or if blue flags weren't a thing. So I was just hoping that Meaty would get out of the way or make an error, and it looks like he's made an error there. I gave him a big berth in case he came firing across the track, and we're now in front of him.
Alright.
But all of a sudden we had Sean down the inside, possibly because of the hesitation I had when Meaty was in front of us. I did not notice how close he was, and through he comes. Very aggressive move, but he is through. Now we have to try and take P3 back. Had a good run coming out of here as he looked to get on the curb, and oh dear, he sort of swiped us there, so we're in the wall. Hopefully no one else comes through from behind. It looks like we have a big enough gap, and he's off the track again, it looks like. If we can avoid him here, nope, we can't. Very difficult to pass people who are just coming back on the track and they put their car in the middle of the road. Very difficult indeed. Anyway, we're back, caught up again, following him, and he's a bit wide, more contact, so I try to carry the speed through the corner. Can we take the inside line into this final hairpin?
All clear.
We are through. Now I have to put some really quick laps in to try and gap him, so there's no more shenanigans in that regard. Let's look over the wall here though. There's a car in the pits on lap 35, and there's only 19 laps of fuel available, so he won't make it. That's a position. And in the pits again, is that the race leader? So potentially they have to make another pit stop. This could be really good for us if we can stretch to the pit window that will get us to the end. There's our fuel light. We have to pit this lap, but there are 19 laps left, and that's exactly how much the estimated fuel load is. So this could be a strategic masterclass from the number 20 team. Could this happen? A green flag pit stop though. It's always very painful to see how long these last compared to an F1 pit stop. Out we come. Where are we going to be? Looks like it's P3 behind those two leaders who already pitted. Now it's lap 39. We're catching Kyle, our teammate. I'm not sure if he's had some form of problem. We're definitely catching him though. And in the pits there's another car. Is that the leader? Yes it is, making his second green flag pit stop, and we're up to second, so it's a 1-2 for forward bite at this stage. There is Kyle. This is our fastest lap of the race, by the way. It turns out to be sub 13, which would have been fantastic in qualifying, possibly a top 3. But of course, as you do a long race, you get more used to the track, and I was certainly better towards the end of the race. Definitely catching Kyle though, which is a positive for our race. Probably not going to try and overtake him too aggressively because he is a teammate and he won the previous race. Don't want to rock the boat too much, but if it makes an error or pits, I'll go through and we'll see what happens. There's also a bit of lag to contend with, and I know a lot of guys weren't particularly happy to be behind me because the lag obviously not ideal at all. However, next week I'll be moving, and the projected net speed is 2.5 times faster than I currently have. So perhaps that could be fixed. We'll cross our fingers for that. So at the end of this lap you can see how much we've caught up to Rox and Kyle. Quite a lot. Let's see what the lap time is as we cross the line.
That was your best lap ever.
It was a 12.9. Into the pits though. Kyle into the pits. So that means he will be surrendering the lead to us, and we are not planning to make another pit stop. This all comes down to who's behind us now. It's Mitch Mann, 12.3 seconds behind, and he is fast, very fast, 7.7 seconds a few laps later. So I'll have to put some really consistent quick laps in now that I've noticed the speed he's coming at us with. 13.0, and it seems to have stabilised the gap. So I come across the line, and this should be another 13.0. So the consistency and the lack of mistakes is all that I have going for me at this stage. Fuel light coming on at the last lap. That should be enough though to make it without slowing down. And come around the final corner now. Meaty once again, about to go a lap down. Not the greatest race for him, but for us,
You're low on fuel.
we're going to win a NASCAR race, somewhat unbelievably.
Great job.
It was complete disbelief for me. I was stunned that I managed to pull this off in only my 4th league race in the series. We win at Sonoma. Mitch Mann was very fast. He came in 2nd and Zeke was 3rd. It says they're a lap down, but it just means that they didn't make the 30-second counter. Anyway, I've been Jacko. See you next time in Kentucky.